In 1995, the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action was adopted at the United Nations Fourth World Conference on Women. The Beijing Declaration highlights 12 critical areas including women in power and decision-making processes, the plight of the girl child, addressing poverty among women, education and training, women's health, ending violence against women, addressing armed conflict, environmental protection, ensuring that women reap from the benefits of economic growth, the media, putting in place institutional mechanisms for the advancement of women, and observing women's human rights. On the 8th of October 1995, Uganda promulgated a new constitution after a protracted process which ensured for the first time that gender equality was embedded in the supreme law of the land. This was in line with the Beijing Declaration. Customs, cultures, and traditions against the dignity of women were outlawed. Among the architects of the 1995 Constitution was Honorable Dr. Miriam Matembe, a former Minister of Ethics and Integrity and a human rights activist who has dedicated her life to the promotion of women's rights in Uganda.
A woman came from the kitchen, from behind doors, and joined the politics and went into political arena, right from the village, LC1, LC2, LC5, 6, eventually we reached parliament. I mean, that was never heard of. The introduction of the principle of gender balance and constitutionalization of affirmative action positions were opened up for women to go in political level. Even in the constitution, we put not less than a third of women to be, of LCs to be women. All this were taking on board all the Beijing issues to do with women and politics.
This year, the world commemorated 25 years of the Beijing Declaration. Down the road, there are a number of commitments on gender equality and women's empowerment as domesticated in the national constitution that have not been attained. The government of Uganda, together with other key stakeholders, need to renew their commitment to achieve gender equity. Affirmative action undertaken by Uganda to boost girl child education at university level has included the automatic award of 1.5 additional points for girls qualifying to join public universities. This has increased the number of female graduates, creating better opportunities for women, including access to key decision-making positions in both public and private institutions.
The 1.5 mark, which we fought for, University Women Association and ACFORD and FIDA in collaboration together, looking behind us to the struggles we're experiencing as the girl children as went to school, the injustices that we faced. We were able to introduce the 1.5 at the university. That 1.5 opened doors for many girls to get in there and break through. So in education, we broke through and we are all careers. We can go to all careers and all professionals.
For more women to access leadership and governance positions in Uganda, affirmative action quotas of 30% for women in parliament were provided in the 1995 Constitution.
When we compare ourselves in terms of representation of women in parliament, we've really achieved a lot, because currently women constitute 37% of all members of parliament. When it comes to cabinet, currently women constitute 31.2%, which is a big achievement because previously this was not the case. And when you look at participation in local government, we've achieved the critical mass, over 33% of women represented in, at all levels of local governments. In terms of generally, women constitute 27% in public service. Of course, when it comes to different levels, permanent secretary, head of ministries and departments, head of directorates, heads of departments, there we've not done very well. But in terms of really generally representation in public service, we've also registered some milestones.
The women members of parliament, through their organization, Uganda Women Parliamentarians Association, UAPA, have been instrumental in influencing decision-making at different levels to address issues affecting women and girls.
Having women in those key critical decision-making is very important. And that, as UAPA, we had to take it up to push for amendment of the rules of procedure to reserve 40% leadership position at Parliament for women. And this was passed. It is within the rules, the parliamentary rules of procedure. As chair of committee, they influence a lot of policy issues. So if we have women there, then we'll see policy changes.
I was chosen to chair the Human Rights Committee. It was also, I was the founder chairperson, if I could call it that, because the committee was created during the 9th Parliament, and I was chosen to chair it. So I was lucky that I gained some kind of expertise in this area, and so I have really championed human rights. For example, there was no law to guide the courts of law in listening, in hearing human rights cases. There was no clear procedure, and that's how we came to have in place the Human Rights Enforcement Act.
Capacity building for women members of parliament by UAPA and other partners has helped to make them more effective in executing their mandate and promoting the gender equality agenda.
To put resources into these trainings, and you put sensitization to sensitize the people to know that they need these trainings, and also to sensitize others to appreciate the role of the women leaders. So government has done a lot, yes, but there is still a lot more to be desired.
At local level, the prescribed 30% quota for women representatives within the Local Government Act has encouraged many women to vie for elective positions. The women leaders have been supported by non-government organizations like the Center for Women in Governance, CEWIGO, to build their capacity to perform well in their leadership roles. Justin Bulisadi, who represents people with disabilities in Bushenyi District Council, was elected Speaker of the District Council because of her outstanding abilities. She is now one of the few women to reach that position.
Trainings like public speaking, in leadership skills. So CEWIGO made me what I am today. I was not like this before. Another achievement I achieved from CEWIGO is being confident and knowing that you learn from others. So I used to look at other leaders who are performing better. I copied from them, then I practice it. It has assisted me a lot. I was encouraged by CEWIGO that just in where you've reached, you can be the speaker of this district because you've gone through so many trainings and we have trust in you. I came, used the caucus in my council, which was formed by CEWIGO. I used all the lobbying skills which I attained from CEWIGO, and that's how I managed to beat many and become the speaker of this model and beautiful district, Bushenyi district. I used my position to encourage the women of our caucus, those are women councillors of Bushenyi district, to present ordinances which are assisting women in our communities. We we designed an ordinance on sanitation, because when you look at sanitation, it assists our women out there in our communities.
Women who have held various leadership positions at different levels has found CEWIGO training very useful in helping them to promote women issues in their councils.
Due to several trainings I've had from CEWIGO is where I am today, because CEWIGO has taught me to be myself, to always think ahead of what I've achieved, to achieve more. And once you have achieved more, you don't give up, you continue achieving more. You go along with others. You create a mass of people to be again like you. As you move, others also follow. So when you want to achieve something, you involve others and you learn to work with the masses. I moved a number of resolutions in the council. Like one of the resolutions which I passed, and I was proud of the same resolution, is to every office, they should create a lactating room for breastfeeding mothers, which was not there.
CEWIGO came in to train us, to be good legislators, to learn how to work as women. We used just to pass budgets without minding whether the budget is addressing the needs of the women, the needs of the youth. But until when CEWIGO came in and started training us, they taught us that as women we are supposed to advocate for gender-based budgets that are gender sensitive.
Many people in the communities have not yet embraced the importance of women's participation in the public space, leading to some women political leaders finding it difficult to balance the demands of public office and their families. Maintaining marital harmony is one of the focus areas the Center for Women in Governance is addressing in its support to women leaders.
We get the ladies to understand that family comes first after God. So we make sure that when they are getting into politics, at least it is something they have discussed with their families, their husbands and their children, those who have grown children. And when they have agreed together, once she goes into politics, she has the support of the husband, she has the support of the family. We make them understand that family cannot be broken up just because of politics. And we have had ladies who at first believed once she goes into politics and she wins, it's like now the roles have changed. But no, we say no. The way you have been respecting your husband, the way you have been caring for your children must be the way you are respecting him and caring for them. The time may be now little on your part, that's where you need their support. So as long as the family knows now, because she's in politics, her time is less, then they will understand more. And then you prioritize to make sure that you balance the two.
Initially, our husbands used to refuse us to go into politics, but I'm a testimony seated here. I came in politics in 2016. By then I had a baby of 1 month in 2016. After election, I got a trip to Sweden. It was my first trip boarding a plane. And my husband looked at me leaving this baby of 1 month. I didn't have a maid at home, neither I to have a mother that she will take care of this young baby. He took the initiative to see that he carries this baby. I took 6 months when I'm in Sweden. I came back when even the kid doesn't identify whether mommy or, So in gender equity, the government has really, I've seen a big achievement. So we used to bring in Ginger here, so many conferences, we go out for 3-4 days, but he takes care.
He takes care of the children and he encourages you, go on, this is good.
CEWIGO also uses mentors in different districts to give continuous support to women leaders and help them overcome challenges they often face in their daily work. Faith Batega, a probation and welfare officer in Bushenyi district, has been a successful mentor to many women counselors.
It is part of my role. One, I had to mentor women, I had to mentor CDOs, and they are the women, they are day-to-day people I meet. As I told you, as a probation officer, people who come to office are majorly are men, majorly are women, and the women you find they are crying. So you don't cry with them, but you help them to wipe out their tears. We train them how to communicate, communication skills. What do you communicate? Whom do you communicate to? What do you communicate? What channels do you use? Then the issue of life skills. What do you need with you? In case of a problem, what can you do? Conflict resolution, as they go in groups, they have to have misunderstandings. So if conflicts emerge, how do you resolve them? Using non-violent means. Then resource mobilization. If they don't have the money, how will they be supported? So what we do, you make sure you give them skills of mobilizing resources, you give them skills of even networking. If I cannot have and you have, can't I come to you and you support me?
It is to empower them to be able to articulate their own issues. So for us, we even try to show them, you see, this is how you can articulate your issues. These are the issues. In fact, recently they are in the process of, they were saying that the issue of drug abuse is really affecting even women emancipation and women progress. So they were proposing that we make a bylaw. So we were in the process of thinking about that.
CEWIGO empowers mentors, and the mentors, the role models, continue empowering the women. And also, we engage men in dialogue. We, especially community leaders, we make sure they understand that this country, and indeed the world, needs both men and women. And so we show them the importance of supporting women that are capable, not supporting them just because they are women, but women that we have trained, women that are capable.
While CEWIGO has been successful in supporting women leaders at district level, there is need to reach lower levels of local government where many women are increasingly taking up leadership positions.
We feel that if we had more funding, we would have more staff and we would do more, including going to the grassroots, to those on LC1, the village councils. We could get there because our interest is to make sure that women are uplifted to work together with men.
At higher levels of leadership, especially for positions of district chairperson and member of parliament, women are still constrained by lack of resources for elections, which have become very expensive.
Increasingly, politics has become very expensive. And to us as women who are just getting into that economic empowerment, okay, it is a challenge. It is expensive. That is why sometimes you find a woman has interest, but then they start calculating the cost and they withdraw. Because you try and calculate and say, no, let me just leave it. So the cost of taking up those offices leaves those other women out.
I rode on the passion and fielded my name. Then I discovered that, of course, you need money. And as women do not have money to engage in politics. Usually they will depend upon the men, and there are challenges. Even in the household, the woman will do most of the work, but will not benefit directly from the income.
We have the commercialization of politics, where you find voters are being bribed, and now you find that voters are actually expecting you to pay them to vote for you. women are among the poorest. They are the poor most of the time. The women don't have a lot of money. They cannot engage in that kind of politics. And indeed, when we go to the field to train them, we tell them the importance of not trying to bribe voters. We try to tell them how to fundraise, but not to bribe voters. Secondly, you find that the nomination fees are like 3 million shillings. The women, most of the women cannot afford that amount of money. So you find they are not really able to go in there and run and pay their way around, because you, other than the nomination fees, you have agents. You cannot be everywhere at the same time.
Women leaders of parliament under affirmative action are disadvantaged because they represent the entire district, which is made up of 2 or more constituencies, and have to cover a large area and population, yet they get the same remuneration for monitoring as the directly elected MPs who represent only one constituency.
We were happy that we got this district seat reserved for women, but it has become so challenging. First of all, you are elected by everybody, and so everybody requires the same services as they require from the men. For example, in Mitoma, we have 16 sub-counties, and we now have 3 constituencies. So you can see that it is so unfair on the women, because everybody requires the same services from you. If it is a fundraising in a school, you are all members of parliament. They expect that you, the woman, will contribute as much as the men. And in terms of services, they will expect that you do as much as they do, which is extremely unfair.
Even women councillors on affirmative action seats in the local government, in most cases, represent more than one sub-county or division, which makes it hard for them to monitor and fully engage their constituents, as testified by Mbarara City Councillor Priska Rwakishisha.
Though we are saying that the government has done a lot, but there is still a gap. I will be taking Nyamitanga and Nyakayojo. The place is still big, whereas the pay will be the same like that one of those men will be getting. Nyakayojo will bring up one man, Nyamitanga will bring another one, but the woman is still alone. Even if we go to the parliamentary seat, Mbarara City will bring 2 men, a woman will be 1.
Affirmative action, while helping to boost numbers of women in leadership and decision-making bodies, is now being undermined by political party affiliations, which often force women representatives to toe the party line, even when it may not serve their gender equity interests.
We fear to be fought by the parties. So you will want to always dance to the tune of the party. We fear to be seen leading the disagreement or fronting the issues of women. Okay? If the party has said, don't speak about the marriage and divorce bill, that is it. And yet this is a concern for the women. It has a lot of good gender issues within it. But because the party has said it, you are not going to talk about it as a woman. So the political party belonging really impacts greatly on the participation. It constrains the woman, because at any point, should you go against what the president has said, and you belong to the NRM, then it becomes really a big blow.
If you want to empower women, the most empowering and equalizing law is the law of marriage and divorce. One time when I left Parliament, we had reached the 2nd reading of that law in Parliament when Honorable Hope Mwesige withdrew it from the table. I will never forget. The most important failure of my heart, which I failed, in the pursuit of gender equality and women's empowerment is the failure to pass through the law of marriage and divorce.
In 2007, Uganda enacted a law to establish an Equal Opportunities Commission to, among other things, oversee the implementation of the law that requires all government departments to budget and implement activities that reduce gender inequality.
At the inception, when the Act had just been enacted, these people did not have a lot of capacity at that level. We did not have gender experts, we did not have equity experts, and for that matter, the Commission focused on the implementers, especially the planners and the accounting officers in the various sectors, because they are the helm and in the lead of planning and budgeting for the various sectors and local governments. So we have been training on gender and equity responsive planning and budgeting, and the other thing is that we have developed information and communication materials for the various ministries, departments and agencies, and even for the beneficiaries. The Commission has been advising the Minister of Finance on how to issue the Gender and Equity Certificate of Compliance. And that has been through the assessments that the Commission does, because every year the Commission conducts assessment to see what the various ministries and departments and agencies and local governments have put in their budgets, have put in their plans to cater for those people who are marginalized.
Lobbying by Uganda women parliamentarians has led to the establishment of the Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program, UAF, providing women access to affordable credit through a revolving fund to women groups engaged in income-generating enterprises and empowering women to support their families and to vie for political leadership.
Uganda Women Entrepreneurship Program that started in 2015 has so far supported a total of 10,446 women groups, and this is directly benefiting 130,258 women in different parts of this country. The fund is a revolving fund. Women groups apply for the money for income generating activities. On getting the money, they have to pay back. Of course, we give them a grace period to enable them to build the capacity to be able to pay back. So whatever is paid back is plowed back into the fund, and that is what other women are also benefiting from. Recently I was in Gulu. Women testify that their income earning opportunities have improved. They are able to ensure that their businesses are running as businesses, not just as a project that starts today and ends tomorrow. So they have businesses that are able to be sustained over time. And the income that women earn does not stop with the women only. They are also supporting other members of the family.
In grassroots communities, thousands of Women Village Savings and Credit Associations, VSLAs, are being supported to link with formal financial institutions under the Financial Inclusion Strategy 2017-2022 so that they can grow and foster economic empowerment for women.
I didn't give out handout to the groups, but we sensitized them, we talked to them, we interested them in saving, we inculcated saving culture in the people, and now they can save. They save every week, others do save every day, and now they can have money to invest, to finance economic activities.
Affirmative action and mainstreaming of gender equity in government resource allocation have gone a long way to enhance women empowerment and participation in national and local decision-making processes. This will be further strengthened when government makes it mandatory for public and private institutions to have gender equity budgets. It is evident that some efforts have been made towards the implementation of the Beijing Declaration commitments. However, the journey is still long and a lot is yet to be done. Citizens, government, and funding organizations working together will surely narrow the gender gap.
The future of the Ugandan woman is bright, but it all depends on what we do today. If we go back to the plot and continue, as CEWIGO, we have never, dilly-dallied. We have always walked straight. And I'm sure a lot of other organizations are doing that. But when you come to political will, is it there? Honestly, I want to say it isn't there. So what we do today determines what will happen tomorrow.